We'll just go down the list, shall we? So
Yeah, yeah.
is this about a digital art course? Is
So
it
yeah,
just
I'll
assets
read out
or
the question verbatim for them, and then you can start answering it, Grant. So the question, because they can't see what's
sounds
on my
good.
screen. So the question is
Yep.
this about a digital art course? Is it just assets or also characters? So let's answer these one bit at a time. Grant, is this about digital art?
So we're trying as much as possible to make it that you can do it with pencil and paper or pen and paper, depending on what sort of medium you have. But there will be aspects of it where we talk about digital art. So what sort of graphics tablet you might want and all those sort of things. We haven't completely sorted the curriculum out, but we're still in the process of doing that. So if we're finding that lots of people are wanting to do pen and paper and hardly anybody digital, then we'll obviously swing it one way or the other. That's the thinking. Am I right, Ben? Does that make sense?
That was always my intention. So the fundamentals of teaching 2D art you shouldn't be distracted by the medium, in our opinion. The medium is the icing on the cake. There are certain things you can do in digital you cannot do in paper, transparencies and layers and stuff like that that are nearly impossible to do on paper. But the core skills of, as we've said in the Kickstarter, control over your hands, so the stroke and then the shape and then form and then flowing things into one another, all of that sort of stuff can be done regardless of paper or digital. So we're making sure that
Indeed.
people can follow along on paper. So that's the answer to the first bit. So is it just assets or also characters? So again, Grant.
Yep. So we're doing both assets, characters, landscapes. We're trying to cover as much as possible so that you can think of a thought and put it down onto paper. That's the ideal, anyway. So there's another question, part of the question, which does it cover design? Will it also cover character, asset, animation? We probably won't go into animation, but you would be able to, if you are able to draw, then you can kind of animate, but it just takes a lot longer, of course. In terms of design, it's not something we were thinking of covering. Just in terms, we were thinking about whether you can draw or not. So, can you draw characters? Can you draw game assets? Design is a slightly different area, but the skills certainly do lend themselves. I've done a lot of sort of design, graphic design work in the past, so my art skills have certainly influenced that. So there will be an element of that, but our focus is on learning to draw.
Thanks, Grant. And then the
Ben,
final
are you back
bit.
with us?
Yeah, I'm back with us, and I've unlocked the chat, and it is flowing like crazy. So the final bit of this question
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
is: are we going to be doing animation? So the short answer in the current form of the Kickstarter is no. We are going to be teaching you to draw a frame rather than series of frames and stringing them together. However, it's a Kickstarter, and you know us. What tends to happen with Kickstarters is they tend to fund quite well, and when they fund quite well, we tend to go crazy and start releasing stretch goals. So I think that animation could be an interesting flipbook style, basic flipbook style animation might be a candidate stretch goal. But let's get closer to the goal before we start laying out stretch goals and giving Grant 20 years of work to do. So. But yes, thank you for that feedback. Could easily be a good choice.